Okay, we are now recording. So awesome, guys. Thank you, everybody that joined us. I'm going to put in that Nearpod link once again, just so you're aware. Let me share my screen, and then I'm going to go over some things with you. A couple things. If you were early, I did kind of talk to you a little bit about. Let me just jump into the course real quick. So remember on the course, right, any live lessons that we have, I'll post on the announcement board on the front page, just so you can get back and get to them. So we have those. If you go to plan, this is what's changed a little bit, okay? So this is our last live class. The last day of school is the 28th, unless you are a senior, okay? You need to be done quite a bit before that. So because of that, they've asked me to zero out everything this week. So I'm going to put a 0 in for all of the ones you haven't done. That doesn't mean that you're going to fail the class or anything like that. So don't worry about that. However, as soon as I zero everything out, you'll know exactly what your grades is. And then you can kind of just retake the quizzes or whatever you want to do to get the grade that you wish to get. So everything is due on the 7th there. And then for those of you that are juniors or below, you'll have until basically 3 weeks. If you're a senior, you probably only have like a week and a half after this Friday to get everything done. And so we're kind of pushing it a little bit faster this semester because it's at the end of the year, which is good and, well, just good altogether, right? And you know how to get to your lessons here. Just make sure you hit the video, do the quiz, hit the video, do the quiz, and so forth. Okay. All right, I'm going to jump into the Nearpod real quick. Today, the last lesson, what we're going to be going over, we're going to go over identity theft and consumer protection. We're going to talk a lot about possible like fraud. I'm sure you've heard of fraud. I'm sure you've heard of people trying to swindle other people and getting money and getting your information and all that kind of stuff. So a little bit of how to protect yourself. And we're going to talk a little bit how people are, some people are very creative at this. Just remember that this lesson is being recorded for learning purposes. And then as we're going through here, we got some expectations of following along on the Nearpod, responding to things when asked, be respectful in the chat, and so forth. Okay, so here's some questions you need to consider. So what is consumer rights? Now, being a consumer, what a consumer means is anybody that buys something. So I'm a consumer of, like, for example, Amazon. Okay, so if I purchase something off Amazon, I'm considered a consumer, and I have certain rights that come with that, right? And we're going to talk about those. And then what's my responsibility too, right? I probably shouldn't be going to unnamed sites and just ordering stuff that's possibly too good to be true, right? What is the purpose of consumer protection laws and the agencies? How can I avoid identity theft and fraud? How can I understand financial contracts? And how can I avoid financial scams? So those are some things that we'll be going over, okay? So let's talk about fraud real quick. So fraud is a deliberate deception designed to secure unfair or unlawful gain, okay? So basically you're cheating somebody out of something, okay? So identity theft, true name is fraud, okay? So basically it's someone who wrongfully acquires and uses consumers' personal identification, credit, or account information without your permission, okay? And so you want to keep things safe, like social security number, your full name, address, date of birth, mother's name, passwords, pins, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so there is a famous story back in, it happened in, I believe, the late 50s, early 60s, okay? where a man by the name of Frank Abagnale Jr. Basically, he was actually young when he started. He was under 18. So you take my law enforcement classes or whatever, and we talk about criminal law, we talked about minors. Um, so a lot of it, what he did was he was underage, but he fraudulently became an airline pilot, a doctor, a lawyer, a professor, and all kinds of things. Okay, and so he used fraud and deception, and what he used it for was to basically swindle checks. Today, checks, there's not a lot of people that write checks anymore, but that's what he did. Is he found out how to play the system, and back then it took a long time for a check to clear, and so by the time he did it, it was 5 days before they found out that it was a bad check, and he got so good at it. But here's kind of a little clip of kind of what he did. So there was a movie made in the early 2000s starring Leonardo DiCaprio. And here's kind of how he fraudulently became a pilot and some of the things he did. So it's kind of interesting. So I want to make a disclaimer. He never actually flew an airplane or really practiced medicine. He just kind of skirted around the system there. So he what they call, I guess, deadheaded, and just like was a pilot on another airline just trying to get there. So anyways, very interesting story. It's a book, it's a movie. So if that's something that interests you, it's a really good one to kind of watch and just kind of see how there. And that's a true story too, right? So it's interesting what people the lengths people go to. Okay, let's talk about a little about consumer rights and responsibilities. Okay, um, so your rights, your right is to be able to be safe. Okay, to safely be able to purchase stuff, to be informed about things that are going on, um, to choose, and to be heard. So your responsibilities as well is to look at products and make sure they're safe. Okay, to seek information of a decision. Um, and what was your question about, Charlene? Dawn, who's that? Do you want to explain a little bit more? You put in the chat. That'd be great. Um, the next one is to choose a good. Choose your goods. You're not stuck with one thing that you have to choose. And then speak up and let you know what their likes and dislikes are, right? Okay, there's some agencies that protect you and help you through this process. So there's the FDA, which stands for the Food and Drug Administration. The Food and Drug Administration makes sure that things are safe, right? That and they put out different things, like you might say there's a recall on lettuce for this, right? This type of lettuce. And so they found out that that's maybe making people sick, and so they're recalling it. So there's things like that. Consumer Product Safety Commission. When things are made in like different countries and stuff like that, for example, they used to put lead-based paint on baby toys, and guess what happens, right? The baby puts that in their mouth, and then next thing you know, the baby has lead poisoning. Okay, so you got to really watch that. Federal Trade Commission. So this has to do with more with stocks and investing. And so once you get into that point in your life, when you're doing that, you need to do that. Oh, okay. So it's a person in movie about identity theft. In the end, she is caught and her real name is revealed. Oh, interesting. I would love to I'm going to put that down right now to actually go take a look at, because those really interest me. So Dawn. Okay. Thank you, Charlene. Appreciate it. Love when people comment. There's also what's called the Better Business Bureau. So businesses come together to make sure things are ran ethically and right. There's the Bureau of Consumer Protection. And so same kind of thing, just to protect your rights. And then also different consumer unions that you can help you. So one thing that people worry about, especially when they're doing with banks or something like that, someplace that holds their money, they're worried about losing their money, right? So the federal government, meaning the U.S. government, insures your money up to a certain amount, and usually that's $250,000 for your account that they'll insure that up to. So if somebody goes in and maybe takes it or whatever, know that it's insured and you will get that money back. Okay. Okay, so some things to avoid identity theft. Okay. Monitor your credit. Okay, so that's one thing. Do not give out your personal information to unknown people or companies. Okay, there are things that just require you to give out your social security number and stuff like that. So just be careful, right? Protect your credit and debit cards. The guy in the movie, that Frank Abagnale, so he spent quite a bit of time in prison, and then he became a consultant with the FBI. And one of the things he talks about is always just using a credit card, because you have a zero liability. So if something, I've had this happen quite a bit where my credit card's charged from someplace in India or something like that, and $1,200, and I just file claims, and that was not me. I'm not paying it, and the credit card company is the one that needs to go after it. Okay, protect your wallet, your mailbox, passwords, pins, antivirus on your computer. Notify the bank if you change address or whatever. Okay, so let's get some collaboration stuff going here. So here's an example. So Bethany purchased a new pair of shoes from the internet. What steps should she take to ensure that her identity was protected while making the purchase? Okay. What are some ideas here? What could you do to protect yourself while making the purchase? Anybody out there? Okay, there we go. Use a secure Wi-Fi. I like it. So I don't buy it in the middle of Walmart, right? Okay. So read reviews on the site to keep you safe. I like it. Always very good things right there. Okay. Make sure it is a reliable website. Yep, very good. So if you look at this website right here, it has a little lock thing up here. That does mean it's more secure. They have some type of decryption or whatever. Anybody else? If you really want to be really careful, what you could do is you can actually buy prepaid cards, okay? And what you can do is just put so much money on there, just enough to make the purchase, right? So I think somebody said get a chipped card on the thing. Very good. Good. Okay, let's go on to the next thing here. Let's talk about scams and schemes. Okay. So a scam is a fraudulent or deceptive scheme. Okay. And what it is just a plan to basically defraud somebody. So this is a very interesting video here. This is something taken out of the UK. It's a series called The Real Hustle. And what they do here is they actually set up little schemes to show people how other people are defrauding in their country. So I thought this was an interesting one. So take a look and we'll come back. All right, guys. So what do you think about that? Was that interesting? The length that people go to get you away from your stuff, right? Amazing. You know what I mean? So, okay. Well, let's talk about some other schemes that people do that are more common. You probably heard of a pyramid scheme before. Okay. It's basically a type of financial fraud in which people can join an organization in exchange for the right to sell memberships to other people. Okay. Um, but what's that benefit, right? I know some people that have done well in certain structures like that, but most of the time it doesn't turn out too well. Okay. And the people at the top are just the ones that make all the money. There's something called a Ponzi scheme. Okay. It's closely related to a pyramid scheme, but the promoter generally has no product to sell and pays no commission to investors who recruit new members. Okay, there's something called an affinity fraud. It's a name of a type of scam that targets members of a specific demographic. Okay, um, perpetrators may attempt to relate to or exploit characteristics common to the demographic. Okay, so some of these targeted groups that are usually targeted include the elderly, different ethnic groups, and different religions. Okay, so I knew that when my grandma was alive, she would get all kinds of crazy calls. Even one saying that my cousin was in jail and needed to get out, or in jail and needed to get out, and he needed to post bond and wanted to give money, right, to them. So, but it wasn't real, right? And there are preying on the elderly or people that do not know the culture, or people that are just generous and that. Yep, scammers on KSL, it's getting wild. It always does, right? So here's some warning signs for you, particularly when you're looking at when you're getting loans for money and stuff like that. You need to look at some stuff. So unreasonable high interest rates, multiple refinancing, unnecessary debt consolidation, balloon payments, negative amortization, door-to-door sales solicitation, backdating of documents, okay, all that kind of stuff. Somebody said that happens to my grandma, but they said they needed her social security number. Yeah, I mean, and then the scammers on KSL, there's a lot that will say, "Hey, I'll send you some type of cashier's check for more than the amount that you asked for," and this and that and the other. It's just, it gets to be ridiculous, and it's not fair for anybody, honestly. Some other common scams are advanced fee scams. So one thing, I went into a grocery store one time, and the person in front of me was using their debit card, and it asked her if they wanted cash back. They put no, but it put on there, it was trained that when you push no, it actually said you would get cash back. And I think the cashier was slipping that $20 cash back underneath the thing and taking it at night. Okay, look for that kind of stuff. It happens. Okay, prizes that cost you, online auctions, fraudulent jobs to get your personal information, money making schemes, bogus charities, scam schools. Okay, all that kind of stuff. How do thieves work? Skimming, dumpster diving, computer spyware, anything. Fishing, farming, wireless hacking, stealing, shoulder surfing, anything like that. Okay. Okay, so some top strategies to avoid. Don't be the victim. Okay, be assertive, know what's going on, investigate strangers who have deals that are too good to be true. Okay, always stay in charge of your money. Don't be fooled by appearances. Watch out for salespeople who prey on fear. Monitor your investments. Report fraud and abuse. Do your homework. Be wary of door-to-door solicitations. Okay. And that is it. Okay, guys? So this is our last lesson. So just a reminder for those that may have came in, I'm going to go back to the calendar. I'm zeroing out everything on Friday, okay, just because it's the end. They asked me to do it because of seniors. So if you're a senior this year, you should probably get everything done by Friday if you can. If not, you probably have another week or so to get it done, but you're going to be pushing it. We just want to make sure you graduate. For the rest of you guys, the last day of school is actually the 28th, so you do have plenty of time, but just make sure you get it done. So, okay, I will stick around for any questions or anything like that that you may have. Last day for seniors. So last day for seniors, I would say I want everything done by the 14th at the latest, if you can. All right, so that still gives you quite a bit of time. So another, like basically you got almost 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks. Okay. Okay, yeah, or if you're graduating, yeah, definitely. You'd want to get it done now. So that's fantastic. Congrats to everybody that is graduating. That's cool. But yeah, we got to get everything done here. Okay. Don't try, do. Okay. So once I zero everything out, then it'll be good to kind of see where you're at, because then it'll show you exactly what you need to do. So at least you get a passing grade, right? At this point in time, D's get degrees, okay? Thanks, everybody. Okay, have a great day. I'll stick around for any questions if you have them. Thanks.